first version of the Transformers was the series known under the name of Cybertron, and I loved it a lot. Then I heard that all those film crews that have been coming to the state recently are here to film a Transformers movie, and that was beyond amazing news. Combined with the commercials I saw on TV for the 20th anniversary DVD of the '86 movie that I got for Christmas that year and watched almost daily for a while. Needless to say, these three were some great ingredients to turn me into a lifelong fan that I've become today. But the final nail in the coffin to make me love these robots forever was its next installment, which was a show called Transformers Animated. I was instantly in love with it and could not wait for the toys of it to come out. When the pre-orders first went up, I convinced my parents to get me the Bumblebee and Lockdown, only for us to get an email on the day they were going to ship that they were delayed by 3 months, and my dad decided to take me to Toys R Us to get two other Transformers to have now while I wait for them, and I picked out the Voyager Starscream and the Deluxe class Prowl. Much like how Transformers Animated the show changed things by being the first time the franchise ever truly embraced nostalgia, and in the right way by showing love to every version that came before, all reinventing them in small, interesting ways. Transformers Animated the toy line took the engineering of Transformers toys to a new level that every modern toy wouldn't exist without, and hasn't surpassed yet. If anything, the engineering may have regressed a little, for certain figures anyway. The way they translated the unique art style of the series' art director Derek Wyatt was incredible, and it was done without sacrificing the quality of the toys, as toys, which isn't always two things that can be done in tandem. Fast forward 14 years later to the new Transformers Generations line under the name of Legacy, with a sell pitch to the fans being that it would be a line that would show love to all Transformers lore, instead of just the G1 characters. They said, hey, it's been 10 years, maybe it's time the Generations line actually lived up to the Generations name. The first non-80s series to be represented in the line was the Prime series, and it was met with a lot of contention, because even if they were going to give every series its due, it's still one toy line that needs to sell its product to retail, and the general consumer by showing them that these toys are meant to go together, which means they have to take the characters from shows that had more unique art styles and make them fit into the more classic look. And honestly, I thought they did it pretty well. The RC was shown off, and everybody just seemed to know that we were getting a road rocket out of it before there was any evidence of it. And I don't know why, because if we take this aerial version of the same toy and put it next to the Prime RC and the G2 Road Rocket, I'd say this toy looks more like RC than it does Road Rocket. The knockout is based off the Jazz mold, and has some stuff wrong, but I still say it's a great take on the guy. The Skyquake is just G1 Skyquake in his prime colors with a new head and weapons, and the Bulkhead was really just its own thing that almost feels more like the animated version than the Prime one. Not every fan loved these versions of the characters, and it led to a big concern for many fans, that if this is how they are going to translate the Prime designs, what is going to happen if we get to see them do the animated ones? That question would be answered next year in the Legacy Evolution line, with the inclusion of animated Prowl to our Generations collections. And I'd say he's pretty great. He's looking quite sharp in his black and gold police bike mode. For any who may be upset that he doesn't have his G1 white and black look, I say, the show took place in the Detroit, Michigan area, and around here, our police vehicles are usually black and gold. So it is a better disguise. That said, I've never seen a police bike around here. Couldn't even find a picture of one either. Oh well, the show took place in the future. Maybe things changed. Also, he had a G1 color repaint in Japan, if you really need one so badly. So, let's just point this out right now. He has this nice big classic red Autobot logo, like in the show, and the original toy didn't, because with the line having come after the '07 movie, that was still having toys made for it because of how big it was at the box office, most animated toys were given silver logos to have some of that good old brand synergy. Apparently Derek Wyatt wasn't happy about the silver logos either, and I agree. I understand why they do it in the movie. but the color lets them pop. And in a colorful world like Transformers Animated, they look best with logos like these. Overall, a police bike is interesting to see for an Autobot that isn't grooved, and the dashboard gauges in the back of what becomes his head are a fun thing to see on a bot. His transformation is literally the same as the original. The only thing about the OG shift that I miss is that the legs on it are meant to fold up one way, but you could swap which one was the front wheel or back. Sure, it probably wasn't intentional, but it was cool. The new version does need to have them in the way the instructions say they go. The robot mode works so well. It captures everything about Derek Wyatt's design while making it work in a G1 style universe, yet feel like nothing in our G1 universe because of his slim body with all these curves. The only embellishments he has is the cover for his front wheels, the handlebars on his fin/boosters, and the thighs are a bit thicker, which makes sense because he is meant to mimic the look of the police officers in the show, and they had some pants with baggy thighs, so the change does work. Now let's talk about his weapons and his hands. Just like in the show and on the original toy, he has these throwing blades that are a part of his wheels. That way, he doesn't have to always be holding them, or have them mounted to different parts of his body like every other bot. You may have noticed my original animated Prowl doesn't have any thumbs, and that is because, as cool of an idea as the throwing blades are, they pushed the hands open and tended to break the thumbs off. I'm not as worried about this legacy one breaking because that thumb is at least 2 or 3 times thicker than the original ones were. He also only has one hand that can hold his blades because the other is used for the 5mm port that Transformers has always loved to use, but it didn't become standard for every figure until the Dark of the Moon line. So now you can have him packed in some firearms, or maybe some other type of blade to match his ninja skills. Plus, like most modern TFs, he has ports all over his body to plug in other weapons, or take one of these many parts formers guys to make him have some battle armor. And Animated Prowl did get battle armor in the show, so he has some history with this gimmick. No traffic light on a whip though, like the first toy. It is an interesting weapon that is something Transformers has never done before or after, but he never had it in the show. Plus, it never really worked the best, so it's fine not to bring it back. I did like the idea of it, at least. This toy is as close to perfect as a toy could probably ever be. If I didn't already have a G1 Prowl in my Generations collection, then I wouldn't bother getting one, because why would I need it when I have this one right here? Honestly, this is my toy of the year. I doubt anything is beating this one. This gives me high hopes for any future animated figures we see. Hasbro has already revealed an Optimus and Bumblebee in this new style, and I like what I see here. Now, to wrap things up here, I have mentioned Derek Wyatt a couple times now. Like I said, he was the art director for the series, and has worked on plenty other well-loved cartoons like Teen Titans and Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. But Transformers Animated was his passion project, the dream job. Once the series ended, he just kept thinking about what the future of the animated universe could be if he was ever able to return to his dream series. He would post artwork of new character designs, and constantly come to conventions telling fans about his ideas, and how he would always make sure the series would be back one day. He was just as much of a fan as he was a creator, and he meant a lot to many Transformers fans. I even saw him in person at the only convention I've ever been able to go to. That was the 2009 BotCon, where Derek and other members of the animated team talked to the audience about the series and showed us all those shorts they did, including the Starscream and Blitzwing ones, that until recently were only ever shown at that panel. His work was a huge part of my and many other people's childhood, and that man became an icon that was loved by the Transformers community. Then sadly, in December of 2021, every Transformers news site was all posting the same shocking news, that Derek Wyatt had passed away at the much too early age of 49. Now his version of the Transformers has returned for us all to enjoy, but Derek isn't here to enjoy it with us. These new toys are called Transformers Legacy, and I think no other figure in this line is more fitting of that title than this one. It honors the legacy of the series it's based on. It honors the legacy of the character and the toy it is inspired by. And most importantly, it honors the legacy of a man from Michigan that lived his dreams and made so much art that brought so much joy to so many people.